Hello chess friends and welcome to your Art of Chess channel and welcome to an amazing game from the Superbet Chess Classic in Romania. We have here top grandmaster from Romania, Bogdan-Daniel Deac against the top grandmaster Alireza Firouzja from the round 4 of this prestigious chess event. And as I'm recording this video, the current standings are like this. Vasily So and Richard Rapport are in the lead, Ding, Fabi and Nepo, Alireza and Anish are behind. But we have to say the Nepo and Fabi are playing still their game, and I think Fabi has a winning position. As I started to record this video, Fabi had really great situation against Nepo. So if Fabi wins this game against Nepo, then he could be the leader of this very cool chess tournament. So we'll see now what will happen. But let's now start to analyze one beautiful game. It was, in my opinion, really a dynamic game played by Bogdan-Daniel Deac against Alireza Firouzja. And this game shows the power of the simple threat. So when you have a good position, then you should really keep your opponent occupied. You have to attack him. You should not allow him to get back into the game. Always attack him, at least with one simple threat. Make him react and not act. And that's, I think, a special game like this. Pay good attention, in my opinion. A beautiful dynamic game played by these two top grandmasters. So here with the white pieces, Bogdan-Daniel Deac opened with the move d4. Alireza's response was d5, knight to f3, knight to f6, c4. We have the queen's gambit. Now we have the Schallopp Defense. We have now the quiet variation with the move e3 here by Bogdan-Daniel Deac. In my opinion, it's a more passive approach. I myself like to go into this knight to c3 lines, a more dynamic play, but then you risk maybe to go into the check variation with the move d takes c4 with ideas to lock. Then the queen side with the move b5, you have to play something like a4. So it's then a whole different story after move d takes c4. But now after move e3, the bishop gets immediately connected to the pawn on c4. But the downside little bit about this line for white is that black can get with the bishop in a beautiful way and now out. So now the bishop is also active here of black. So in the game, knight to c3 with the preparation in some lines to play the move knight to h4 and then to trap the bishop on f5 to at least take out the bishop with your knight and then continue the game with the white piece, with the beautiful bishop here with the white pieces. So in the game e6, we have now bishop to e2. As I said, one of these lines can be something like knight to h4, then bishop to e4 is the main line, f3, bishop to g6, and now knight to g6 is very often played, and it's a very popular line in top grandmaster level. But okay, here Bogdan-Daniel Deac played bishop to e2. He didn't want to chase the bishop immediately. That's why Alireza created now breathing spaces for the bishop. We have kingside castling, knight to d7, and now bishop to d3, forcing basically now trades of light square bishop. So bishop to d3, queen to d3, bishop to b4, and this move is already very annoying to handle for white, because in some lines, if the bishop gets traded off for the knight on c3, then you risk to have this bad bishop that's a little bit blocked out by your own pawn structure. The pawn on e3, on d4 are basically not allowing here the dark square bishop to play in a good way. But of course, nothing spectacular so far is going on. Alireza is attacking the knight, and here Bogdan-Daniel Deac is simply protecting the knight. If you play too early now bishop to c3, then bishop takes c3 can happen, and then maybe we can get our bishop here on b4 where it has at least some kind of an activity. So in the game, bishop to a5. Alireza is trying to reroute now the bishop on a more active square, on the beautiful square c7, and then he's trying maybe to break and enter with the move e5 in the center of the board. But now Deac plays a beautiful move, b4. If you play bishop to b4 here, then you risk this one, knight takes d5. You can play bishop to d2, but now we have this intermediate check with knight takes f6, knight takes f6, and now after queen to d2, white is a healthier structure here, a beautiful pawn structure. And the downside is of black's, of course, here that the b file is open. I think in the next couple of moves, white could attack the b file immediately. So that's why b4, good move, bishop to c7, but still Alireza has his preparation with the move e5. b5, played by Deac. We have knight to b6 by Alireza Firouzja, attacking the pawn on c4 immediately. We have now b takes c6, but now a beautiful intermediate attack against the queen with d takes c4. The queen drops back to c2, and now Alireza picks up now the pawn on c6. And okay, Alireza gained the pawn, but these are double pawns, so you see they are created at least an imbalanced pawn structure, really an asymmetrical pawn structure. At least he knows where to attack the position now in the next couple of moves, because the c4 is now weak, also the c6 is weak, so at least you have some kind of an attacking chance. So basically black needs now to be careful how to protect his pawns on c file. So in the game knight to a4 played by Deac, we have kingside castling by Alireza, rook to c1, and now queen to d5. A beautiful centralizing move here by Alireza, and also the queen gets now activated. The queen has access to the h5 square, maybe if possible to the b5 square. We are also protecting the pawn on c4, so good so far. Continuation by Alireza. If you play knight to b6 here, this is not good, because after a takes b6 you could maybe pick up the pawn on c4, but notice that also your pawn on a2 is then hanging because the a file is open, so it's not a good tactical sequence here for white. Black should be here much better. So after move queen to d5, that's why bishop to b4 by Deac. We have rook to b8. Alireza is simply removing all of the pieces now towards the queen side, where basically the whole game is now active. Basically nothing on the king side is happening, so it's a good choice here by Alireza to get this rook on this beautiful file. In the game knight to b2, Deac continues now the pressure against the weakness on c4, and now a5, kicking away the bishop. Bishop drops back to a3, and now c3. An interesting choice again by Alireza, because if you pick up now the pawn on c3, then of course again your pawn on a2 is hanging. So you see how Alireza is protecting this pawn by creating new dynamic possibilities on the a file. It's really impressive to see how he's defending the pawn with simple active play. Good continuation here again by Alireza. Knight to d3 by Deac. We have knight to e4, a beautiful square for the knight. We have now knight to c5, and now Alireza has two choices. You can go knight to d2, and you can also play knight to c5. I'm not even sure which continuation is better. Alireza played knight to d2. If you play knight to c5, then bishop to c5 could happen, but actually maybe this is defendable, maybe with the move queen to c4 again, because after queen to c3 again we can pick up at least the pawn on a2, but probably white would continue then with bishop to b6, the rook to b6, maybe. I'm not sure who should be better here. I like also here chances by white by rerouting the knight, maybe here to e1, then to d3, maybe here to c5. This would be a beautiful square. So as I said, beautiful opportunities I think here for both sides. So in the game after move knight to c5, Alireza continued with knight to d2. Now Deac simply took knight takes d2. We have queen c takes d2, queen to d2, and now e5. So okay, Alireza said, I'll give you back my pawn, but I'm making my whole progress working here that I basically prepared. As I said in the beginning, the e5 goal is your basic goal here. So Alireza said, okay, you had your fun on the queen side, but now we are redirecting the game towards the king side, where I'm still slightly better. I'm saying from black's perspective, where I think black should be slightly better, especially because of the bishop's activity and the possibility of the queen to get back into the game on the king side. Okay, this is not optimal. Many pieces are still on the queen side here, but I think we can maybe reroute it. Rook to e8, rook to maybe e6, maybe later rook to g6 if possible. Of course, so far it's not possible, but we should always consider chances at least somehow. I think here the progressive e5 move that Alireza played at least creates new possibilities on the king side. So in the game e4, so Deac finds also beautiful defensive ideas, because if you play now queen to d4, then look at this, queen to d4, e takes d4, rook to d1. It's very hard to defend everything here. D4 pawn is weak. If you protect it, then the knight is coming into the game, then the c6 pawn is weak. So Alireza has to be careful. So I think Alireza's choice to play here queen to d8 instead of taking the pawn on d4 was now one of the first critical moments of the game, because here Alireza is saying, I'm staying with my pieces on the board. I don't want to play two drawish lines. I don't want to play two simplified lines. That's why I really loved this move, although the evaluation of this other move, queen to d4, was better when it comes to computer calculations. But I really loved this human choice by Alireza to keep the pieces on the board. He creates new chances, and that's what I always liked about Alireza's games. He always tried to spice up the game. He never settles for a draw, so that's why with the move queen to d8, Alireza is saying, let's play now again a beautiful dynamic game. So rook from f to d1. We have now e takes d4, queen to d4, but now first bishop to f4, attacking the rook on c1. We have rook to c2, and now the queen is coming in a beautiful way into the game. Now the queen gets activated on the square g5. Rook to f1, Alireza attacks the queen drops back, and now queen to h5 threatens the checkmate on h2. You have to play now g3, but look at this. Now comes the power of the simple threat. Alireza keeps the pressure. With every move, he is attacking at least something. So Deac has to play reacting moves. He doesn't have time to activate these pieces. So after move bishop to e5, queen to b3, we have here knight to c8 by Alireza. He's trying now to get the knight on a better score, maybe, I don't know, to e7, then to g6, maybe then afterwards even to sacrifice it on h4. Many opportunities. So here again, Alireza is announcing new dynamic possibilities on the king side. So we have now bishop to c1, we have rook to b8, attacking the queen, and now Deac makes even, I think, his first inaccuracy in the game. So far, I think he played a great game too. He really defended, attacked also the position, created the structural weaknesses in the beginning. He knew where to attack, but now the move queen to a4 is really bad because the queen is now too far away from the action. A better choice was to play queen to c4, because you don't have to tolerate this queen on the h5. Here you have to trade off it somehow, because after knight to d6, maybe then you have this opportunity, queen to e2. Trade off the damn queens, get rid of the damn queens off the board, because this queen on h5 is, I think, simply too much to handle. That was the opportunity here for Deac, but he played queen to a4 and he lost maybe his chance to simplify the game by trading off the queens. Okay, this move is attacking the pawn on c6, but Alireza had now a great choice to play here the move rook to b5, and then after something like, I don't know, king to g2, rook to d4 is even here an opportunity. But Alireza made a different choice. Instead of this move rook to b5, he played maybe the slightly worst move, rook to d1. Rook to d1 again simplifies the game, because again Deac, I think, had here a beautiful chance to make a draw, but he didn't do that. After move rook to d1, he played rook to d2, and from this point on, it's a one-way ticket in Black's favor. Here Alireza has now a completely winning game. It doesn't seem so in the beginning, but actually, instead of this move rook to d2, Deac should have played rook to d1, simply trading off the queens, and probably he was scared about this sequence, that maybe the rook could come here on the b file. But look at this. After move queen to c6, you can sacrifice some pieces here, but now you play first a check, and after a couple more moves, you can maybe force a perpetual check here. The king has to drop back, queen to c8. The game is over. After something like king to h7 again, here's something like this. This is not working. We play first a check, and this should be devastating. Bishop to g7, bishop to e3 is here no possibility. We can play bishop to d4. So still, you see, Black has also some problems to defend the king. So it's not working. So you see, rook to d2, bad mistake here by Deac. He should have simply traded off the rooks and go for the c6 pawn, like he started. As I said, this was the way to go, but after rook to d2, here Alireza takes over. Rook to f1, king to f1, now knight to b6, maybe also slightly inaccurate move by Alireza, but he's still keeping the tension here. Here still Black is much better, although a better choice is immediately to take out the pawn on h2. That was your plan, to deflect the king from the defense of the h2. Now after something like rook to d8, you can drop back, and now if the queen comes into the game, look at this, knight to e7 like planned, trading off the rooks maybe, and then include the knight somehow into the game is also a good continuation here for Black. But okay, Alireza played knight to b6. This is still good. It's always evaluated by the engines as an inaccuracy, but still Black should be much better. After move knight to b6, we have queen to c6. Maybe a better choice is again to force somehow a trade of queens, but of course Black doesn't have to play that. Queen to h2 is here a possibility, so still As I said, black is much better. But here Deac played queen to c6. It's a little bit too slow with here. Now Alireza plays queen to h2. We have knight to d3, queen to h1. You have to play king to e2. Now look at this again. Alireza continues to pressure with the beautiful activity. He activates the pieces on better scores. He's playing on simple threats. He's including more attackers into the game. The king is centralized. This is always a bad situation when you have the rook in front of the bishop. So it's game over here for white. So in the game, rook to d1, attacking now the queen, but now queen to h5, a beautiful move again by Alireza. You have to play king to e1, connecting still the king to the rook, and now rook to c8. Look at this, the power of the simple threat. The queen drops back here to b7, but now after queen to f3, actually in this position, Bogdan-Daniel Deac resigned. So what's the problem here? Whatever you do, after queen to f3, notice that rook to c2 is the threat to play. Then after moves queen to e2, checkmate, or maybe even something around the square f2 is a possibility. Even if you play, I don't know, bishop to d2 to somehow maybe lock the second rank, rook to e8 is going to happen. Then you get destroyed around the square e4. If you play something like queen to e7 in order to stay maybe somehow active into the game, look at this. There is even this possibility, knight to a4 with the preparation after queen to a3 to play knight to c3. This is also very devastating. Queen to e2 is going to happen. There are still some tactics around the square f2. For instance, if you play bishop to a3 here, as we said, then rook to c2 is winning the game. So nothing can be defended here. You can maybe prevent one thing, but another threat is coming. So beautiful attacking game here by Alireza Firouzja. So let's see. You play something like rook to d2 here, also maybe cutting off here this activity on the second rank. Then you get bishop to c3, you get pinned. So Bogdan-Daniel Deac realized all of this possibilities, so it was simply game over and he resigned. So beautiful game by Alireza, congratulations. He's getting back into the event because he already lost one game against Wesley So, but Alireza is always playing dynamic. He always creates chances in this game. He won now one game with the black pieces, so maybe in the next with the white pieces he can make something too. Incredible game it was, but we have to say it, Bogdan-Daniel Deac also allowed him to play this kind of a game because he made many mistakes in the later stage of the game. But you see how Alireza noticed the mistakes, realized them, made something out of it. In my opinion, still a beautiful game here played by the top grandmaster. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed the game. Interesting ideas of the quiet variation of the Slav defense. If you want to see more commented chess games here on my YouTube chess channel, here's the playlist of our commented chess games here played by top grandmasters like Alireza, Firouzja, Magnus Carlsen, and many more. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best, of course.